Just make sure you're nowhere around when we head to Italy, my brother muttered over dinner. Would be weird if you tried to tag along. My mom agreed without hesitation. This isn't really your place anymore. I lifted my glass, gave the smallest smile, and said, noted. That night, without a sound, I logged into the airline's website and wiped out every single reservation. By morning, all their tickets were gone. At check-in, the airline staff turned them away. That's when my sister texted, "Fix this right now." I sipped my coffee, typed back once, and couldn't help smiling. I never thought you'd actually make yourselves my enemies. But here we are. If you'd asked me just a day before that dinner, I never would have believed things could collapse so quickly. I'd been planning this trip for weeks, carefully counting down the days, imagining the look on their faces. For once, I thought we'd have a rare moment of peace, no criticism, no arguments, just genuine gratitude. It was a warm Friday evening when I pulled into my parents' driveway, a bottle of wine in hand and stupid optimism plastered on my face. It had been ages since I'd done something like that, showing up simply to share time, to feel like family again. 3 weeks earlier, I'd landed the kind of promotion that shifts your entire financial bracket. I didn't announce it immediately. I wanted to reveal it in a way that mattered. So I planned something unforgettable, a family vacation across Italy, Florence, Rome, Venice. First-class flights. 5-star hotels. Paid in full, no corners cut. I told myself it was worth the dent in my savings. Because family deserved it. When I finally broke the news, I expected at least a spark of joy, maybe surprise, maybe tears, at the very least a heartfelt thank you. Instead, I got something I still struggle to explain. My mom gave me a weak half-smile. "That's generous of you." My sister immediately asked if her friend Mia could tag along. My dad looked me over like he couldn't quite process that I had that kind of money. And my brother, he refilled his glass and tossed out a line I'll never forget, "Just make sure you're not around when we leave. Would be awkward if you tried to join." I laughed at first, waiting for a grin, a wink, some kind of punchline. But he wasn't joking. My mom backed him up casually, "This trip's about us. You've got your own life now. It's not really your place anymore." I froze, watching them. My sister was already scrolling through swimsuits on her phone, showing mom pictures like I wasn't even in the room. So I raised my glass. Understood. Calm, steady. They clinked their glasses against mine like it was all settled. Dad chuckled, shifting the topic to gelato flavors. They had no idea. Later that night, I sat at my desk and opened the confirmation emails. One by one, I logged in, canceled the flights, erased the hotels, deleted the car service. 15 minutes, and it was all gone. The next morning, the group chat buzzed with talk of luggage and customs tips. No one called me, no second thoughts, no hint of regret. They really thought they could use me like a walking ATM and cut me out in the same breath. 2 days later, they arrived at the airport. Brand new luggage, coordinated outfits. My sister even snapped a selfie in front of the terminal with the caption "Ciao, baby." They marched to the counter, only to be turned away, one after another. That's when the messages started exploding on my phone. "Fix this. Why are our tickets cancelled? They said it was you. Lisa, are you serious right now?" I ignored them all. Watched the meltdown unfold in real time through the airline app. 4 voided tickets, each stamped with a bold red X. The family group chat lit up in chaos. "Dad, what's happening?" "Sister, they won't let us board." "Brother, Lisa, if this is some kind of stunt, fix it." "Mom, call us right now. This isn't funny." I waited. Let them sit in that panic. Then I finally replied with a single line, "It's just not your place anymore." For a moment, silence. Then everything exploded. My sister fired off 13 messages in under 5 minutes, furious about her ruined year, her wasted money on new clothes, the hair appointments she couldn't cancel. Then came the guilt trips. How could you do this to your own family? My brother switched to threats, pathetic, desperate threats, accusing me of luring them in with promises just to pull the rug out. My mom went straight for blame. I had planned this all along, using generosity as a weapon. By noon, my dad finally called. I let it ring, twice. On the third attempt, I answered. You embarrassed us, he said coldly. Silence on my end. You humiliated your own family in public. At an international check-in desk. Do you think that's funny? I let him finish, then ended the call without a word. After that, they went quiet. I think that's when they realized this wasn't a prank or some tantrum I'd undo later. It was permanent. That afternoon, I logged into my bank. My sister had a monthly transfer set up, $11,300 straight to her account. That money went to her nanny, her groceries, her little luxuries. I shut it off. Then I canceled the card she'd been using on my account. Just last week, she'd charged $200 worth of bath salts and scented oils. Next, I called the dealership. The white SUV in my parents' driveway? My name was on the title. No hesitation, I gave them the address and told them to pick it up. By 3 in the afternoon, it was gone. By 5, I was on the phone with my brother's landlord. The lease was in my name, $1,000 a month, and he hadn't paid a dime in more than 6 months. I told them I'd be stepping off the lease, gave notice, and left them to figure him out. 30 days. That night, the family chat lit up. Mom, let's stay calm. Sister, please. I can't cover the nanny now. Brother, I'll figure something out, but what you did was wrong. No apologies. No accountability. Just panic. They still pictured the old me, the one desperate for their approval, the one who thought money could buy closeness. That person was gone. What they didn't see, or maybe refused to see, was that I was serious. This wasn't payback. It was closure. And they weren't ready for it. By morning, the tone had shifted. The silence overnight told me they'd huddled together, probably in my parents' living room, phones out, arguing about what to do. I could see it in my head, Mom trying to calm the storm, Dad cursing under his breath, my sister pacing, my brother pointing fingers at everyone but himself. At 8:12 a.m., pounding at my door. I didn't need the peephole, I knew it was my sister. She shouted my name like it was life or death. I stood in the kitchen, coffee in hand, and just listened. This isn't fair, Lisa. You don't just cut people off. That's not how it works. Another slam on the door, then nothing. Eventually, I heard her storm off. Through the window, I watched her climb into her car, sit there furiously typing. A minute later, my phone buzzed non-stop. Congrats. The nanny quit this morning. Said she can't count on me anymore. Now I'm stuck with everything. Followed by, you did this, for what? Because of one dinner fight? And then, you seriously need help. I didn't answer. Instead, I logged into my bank again, transfer cancelled, card locked. She wasn't bluffing. The nanny probably saw the writing on the wall, decided she wasn't signing up for my sister's chaos. Honestly? Smart choice. Hours later, my phone lit up again, Dad this time. I let it roll to voicemail, same as always. His message was longer. Lisa, your mother's upset. I'm trying to hold this family together, but you're putting us in a position we never imagined. That trip, it was supposed to be a fresh start, a chance to close the distance. I overreacted. I'll admit that. But listen to me, don't burn bridges. You never know when you'll need family again. I saved the voicemail. Just in case I ever forgot why I stopped picking up. That afternoon, Mom tried. A text first, can we meet? Just talk? I think we're all saying things we don't mean. Then a 3-minute voicemail. She called me cold, accused me of nursing grudges. She said family isn't something you walk away from because your feelings got bruised. She tried to frame it as space versus spite. She warned me I'd regret it. I listened straight through without reacting once. They still thought this was temporary. That I was throwing a tantrum. That eventually I'd crawl back, debit card in hand, apologizing for taking it too far. But the truth? This wasn't a tantrum. It was clarity. That trip was meant to be a turning point, and it was, just not the way they expected. They'd made it crystal clear I wasn't part of their circle. I was just the wallet keeping it afloat. So I stepped out. Entirely. Whatever came next? That was their problem to solve. 3 days of silence followed. No calls, no messages, not even a fake apology. At first, it seemed strange. I expected another round of rage, bargaining, guilt trips. But instead, nothing. It didn't feel like surrender. It felt like strategy. And I was right. Thursday, just after 10 a.m., my phone rang. HR, calm, professional voice. Do you have a moment to discuss a complaint? That word, complaint, tightened my chest. I stepped into a meeting room. They explained, an anonymous tip had come in through the ethics line. A long, detailed email accusing me of misusing company funds. Paying for a personal family trip. Falsifying expense reports. Using reimbursements for favors. There were attachments, too, fake invoices, doctored screenshots, even a forged memo suggesting the Italy trip was billed as an executive retreat. The moment I heard complaint, I didn't need to guess. I already knew who was behind it. They'd taken their own humiliation and twisted it into an attack on me. The irony? Not a single euro from that Italy trip ever touched my company card. Every cent came out of my pocket. HR even said the files looked sloppy, names spelled wrong, formatting inconsistent. They still had to run an official review, but by mid-afternoon, everything I'd submitted was verified. I was cleared. Didn't matter, though. The message was obvious, this wasn't anger anymore, it was sabotage. They wanted to dismantle everything I'd built, quietly, piece by piece. I didn't blow up. I didn't panic. I just sent a short text to my sister. Solid try. Next time, spell the VP's name right. Her reply came 10 minutes later. No idea what you're talking about. Then another, you seriously think the whole world's out to get you? That's not healthy. And the final blow, let me know when you decide to act like an adult. That one actually made me laugh. I was still smirking when my doorbell rang. On the other side was a woman I'd never seen before. Mid to late 30s, tired eyes, balancing a little boy on her hip and a canvas tote in her free hand. Are you Lisa? She asked. I nodded. I'm Clara. Used to nanny for your sister. Before I could say anything, she apologized for showing up unannounced and handed me a flash drive. Said things in that house had become unbearable. She was quitting. Didn't want to get dragged into it, but thought I deserved to know what she'd saved before my sister buried it. I tried offering her money. She refused. She lied to you. A lot, Clara said quietly, and then she left. Inside, I plugged the drive into my laptop. And what spilled onto the screen was worse than I'd prepared myself for. Audio recordings. Hours of them. My sister laughing with friends and my mom, mocking me. Calling me an ATM, saying things like, just throw in a guilt trip, she'll always cave. One clip had her bragging about how she tricked me into thinking the Italy trip was about family bonding, when really it was their reward for putting up with me. My mom's voice popped up too, backing her, reassuring her that I'd never push back. There were screenshots of group texts I'd never been added to. Photos of my apartment she must have taken secretly, captioned, guess who's footing the bill again? Even a draft email they almost sent to my boss, accusing me of harassment. My name typed again and again, plastered where it never belonged. I sat there, staring at the files, before copying everything onto an encrypted drive. No threats. No messages. Just silence. Until close to midnight. That's when I finally texted her one line. I know everything. Good luck. She didn't answer. But my mom did, at 1:43 a.m. 2 words, please stop. The tone had shifted. They'd gone from using me, to guilt, to threats, to outright sabotage. Now? Fear. And I hadn't even moved yet. After that, my sister disappeared. No calls, no fake concern, not even sarcastic jabs. A whole week of nothing. Which, with her, I knew wasn't peace, it was retreat. Hiding. Waiting it out. The only one who kept poking was my mom. Every few days, a vague text, we need to talk. Or, this has gone too far. Then one day, even she stopped. That's when I realized, she must have seen the files. Maybe Clara gave her a copy. Maybe my sister cracked. Didn't matter. Once she knew what I was holding, the game was over. My dad? Vanished completely. No passive-aggressive forwards, no calls. Just silence, like if he ignored it, none of it had happened. My brother's turn came later, in the most predictable way possible, an eviction notice. After I pulled out of his lease, the landlord gave him 30 days to cover it himself. He couldn't. So instead of facing it, he tried to sue me. Handwritten complaint, blue ink, barely legible, claiming I'd ruined his housing stability and owed him 6 months of rent for emotional trauma. It was so absurd I actually kept a copy, tucked in a drawer, as a reminder of the entitlement I'd been financing all these years. The court tossed it out almost instantly. Days later, he showed up outside my building. I didn't open the door. Watched from my window instead. He paced, yelling into his phone, gesturing wildly like he might throw something. Then, out of nowhere, he just stopped. Looked up at my window. And for a second, I swear he didn't even recognize me anymore. Then he walked away. That same night, my sister finally cracked. A rambling paragraph. Apologies. Said she'd made mistakes. Said she missed me. That I'd always been the strong one. That she hadn't meant what she said at dinner. Asked if we could meet, just to talk. I didn't reply. Instead, I scheduled a meeting with my lawyer. The car under my name? Gone. The property taxes I'd quietly been covering at my parents' place? Stopped. The old power of attorney rights my dad still technically had? Revoked. Every shared tie, every joint account detail, I stripped them out, one by one. And as I watched them scramble, fighting to hold on to what they thought was theirs, I realized something I hadn't before. They weren't just furious. They were afraid of someone they'd never met before, me without them. Me, no longer waiting around for change that would never come. And deep down, they finally realized the truth. There was no way back. It's been just over 3 months since it all collapsed. At first, I kept checking my phone, bracing for the next blow-up, another voicemail full of rage, another guilt-drenched text. But nothing came. The noise tapered off until, eventually, it was gone. It didn't happen overnight. My sister clung on the longest. Her tone shifted bit by bit, fewer digs, more hollow positivity. She sent a picture of her kid finger painting, no words attached. A week later, a longer message about how much she'd learned and grown, how she hoped someday we could talk again. I opened it, read it once, and archived it. This from the same sister who mocked me, sabotaged me, drained me for years. And now she wanted a clean slate, as if memory could just reset. But it can't. Not after that. My brother? He didn't last as long. A friend of a friend told me he was crashing on couches, hustling sneakers online just to scrape by. After his bogus court stunt failed, he never reached out again. I guess he understood, the free ride had finally ended. My parents were slower to fade. My mom gave it one last try, sending a handwritten letter. At first, it sounded almost sweet, too sweet. Then the spin began. She said she knew why I was hurt, but insisted she'd never meant to exclude me. Families fight, she wrote, it wasn't personal. And then the line that stuck in my head for days, you were never supposed to take it so personally. That told me everything. My dad? Nothing. No letters, no messages, no passive-aggressive scraps. Just gone. He even blocked me, like I'd committed some unforgivable betrayal. And maybe in their version of reality, I did. I stopped being their banker. Their quiet, dependable scapegoat. Their safety net. Through the grapevine, I've heard the story they tell, that I snapped over something trivial, that I'm selfish, arrogant, unstable, that I changed. What they don't mention are the lies, the schemes, the recordings. They don't mention how they looked me dead in the eye and treated me like a wallet with legs. Those parts never make it into their version. And that's fine. They can dress themselves up as victims if it helps them sleep. The truth? They never believed I'd walk away. They thought I'd always forgive, always pay, always bend to keep the family intact. They thought wrong. Now, there's nothing between us. No calls, no holidays, no awkward reunions, no rehearsed apologies. Just silence. And that silence, they despise it. Not because I hurt them, but because I proved they could live without me. It's been 3 more weeks since the last flicker of contact. No texts, no letters, no doorstep theatrics. The line is finally cut, clean. And for the first time in years, I can breathe. My phone doesn't light up with midnight emergencies or sudden demands. No one's guilting me into flying across the country or wiring money. The background static that was always there, it's gone. And without it, life feels bigger. Softer. I get up early, because I want to. I cook real food again. I walk after work. I actually sleep through the night. My apartment feels new, even though it's the same place, maybe because I took down those old family photos I used to keep out of guilt. I replaced them with pictures of places I've been, people who only ever wanted me, not my money, not my compliance. A handful of close friends know the full story. When I share it, their faces always twist into the same disbelief. I can't believe you went through that. But the truth is, I didn't go through it. I lived it. I normalized it. Only distance shows me what it really was, a slow grind of taking, a family bond stapled together with invoices and obligations. And no, I'm not bitter anymore. Anger burned itself out months ago. What's left is sharper clarity. They never saw me as anything but a resource. And when I stopped being useful, they tried to break me for it. But the freedom in being done is this: there's nothing left for them to take. No more fixing the unfixable. No more waiting for recognition that never comes. I've blocked the numbers, shut the accounts, cut every tie they used to lean on. Not out of revenge. Out of reality. I'm not their daughter, their sister, their provider anymore. I'm just Lisa. And that, finally, is enough. Sometimes, out of habit, I'll catch myself reaching for my phone, about to check in. Then I remember, there's nothing to check in on. Their absence doesn't ache now. It's just quiet. Quiet in a way that feels like peace.